I was halfway through mowing my front lawn on a quiet Saturday morning when I noticed a police cruiser slowly rolling down the street. At first, I didn't think much of it. Our neighborhood was usually peaceful, and seeing a patrol car every now and then wasn't unusual. But then I saw something that immediately caught my attention. Walking right beside the officers was the president of our HOA, a woman everyone in the neighborhood knew for her constant complaints, endless rule enforcement, and habit of involving herself in situations that had absolutely nothing to do with her. The moment I saw her pointing directly at my house, I knew this wasn't going to be a normal conversation. I shut off the mower and watched as the officers and HOA Karen marched up my driveway. She looked unusually confident, almost excited, like she had finally found the opportunity she'd been waiting for. Before the officers could even introduce themselves, she loudly announced, "That's the house. Those are the criminals I've been telling you about." Every neighbor within hearing distance suddenly stopped what they were doing. Curtains moved. Garage doors paused halfway open. People watering their lawns froze in place. I just stood there completely confused. Criminals? What was she talking about? One of the officers stepped forward and calmly asked if they could speak with me. I agreed and immediately asked what this was about. Before they could answer, HOA Karen jumped in again, claiming she had evidence that my family was involved in illegal activities, that suspicious people were constantly visiting my house, and that she believed we were running some kind of criminal operation from the property. I honestly thought it was a joke. The accusations were so ridiculous that I actually laughed. Unfortunately, she wasn't joking. She was dead serious. The officers remained professional and asked if they could verify a few things. I cooperated completely because I had absolutely nothing to hide. Meanwhile, Karen continued her dramatic performance, telling the officers that she had been investigating us for months. Apparently, her investigation consisted of staring through her windows, writing down license plate numbers of guests, and making wild assumptions every time a delivery truck stopped by my house. She claimed the frequent visitors were suspicious criminals. In reality, my brother owned a landscaping company and often met employees at my house before heading to job sites. The delivery vans she considered suspicious were normal package deliveries. The officers quickly began realizing that the situation wasn't exactly matching Karen's dramatic claims. They asked her whether she had any actual evidence of criminal activity. That's when things started falling apart. Karen suddenly shifted from facts to speculation. She said she had a feeling something illegal was happening. She said she was concerned about unusual activity. She said neighbors had mentioned things. The officers asked for names. She couldn't provide any. They asked for reports. She had none. They asked whether she had personally witnessed a crime. She admitted she had not. The entire accusation was built on assumptions and gossip. While this conversation was happening, more neighbors gathered nearby. Many of them looked confused because they knew my family well. We'd lived there for years without a single issue. One neighbor even approached the officers and volunteered that we were probably the most boring family on the block. Another neighbor laughed and said the biggest crime committed at my house was my terrible barbecue skills. The mood started changing quickly. What Karen expected to be a dramatic criminal investigation was turning into a public embarrassment. The officers remained polite, but it was obvious they were becoming frustrated. One officer finally asked Karen directly why she was so convinced criminal activity was taking place. Her answer was unbelievable. She explained that she had seen people coming and going at different hours and thought that was suspicious. The officer responded by pointing out that people visiting a home was completely normal. Then she claimed that because one visitor drove a black SUV, it looked suspicious. The officer asked if driving a black SUV was now a crime. Several neighbors started laughing. Karen's face turned bright red. But she wasn't ready to give up. She suddenly accused my family of hiding evidence inside the house. The officer immediately asked what evidence. She had no answer. She just kept insisting that something wasn't right. At that point, the officers clearly understood what was happening. They explained that accusations require evidence and that personal suspicions aren't enough to justify criminal